This is the Little Moments Count radio podcast, created in partnership with community radio stations throughout Minnesota. Each episode, you'll hear interviews with early childhood experts on how to support the important brain development that takes place in the first 1,000 days of life, just through little moments every day. Learn more at littlemomentscount.org/podcast.
FM 89.9 KMOJ, no doubt, no doubt. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Walter Q. Banks Jr. got you on the afternoon drive and letting you know that little moments count. Now check it out. Little moments count. This episode is brought to you by Afternoon Drive Time, along with the partnership of Little Moments Count and Minnesota Public Radio. Little Moments Count is a statewide collaborative focusing on helping parents and caregivers learn about the importance of brain development in the first 3 years of one's life. Nearly 80% of brain growth happens in the first 1,000 days of a small person's interactions, and we're talking about talking, playing, reading, singing, the list goes on. And I'm letting you know that if you like more information, littlemomentscount.org. And for this afternoon, we got none other than Mr. Isaiah Allen. I'd like to say good afternoon to you, and how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
About 6'3" and cold chilling on a warm day like today. And
I like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For the listening audience, can you give us a little bit about yourself? I know that you're originally on the side of St. Paul on the other side of the water, but at the same time, you know, when you are an author, a speaker, a community builder, I mean, speak about a little bit about yourself so that people can get an understanding of who I'm about to speak with.
Absolutely. You know, So my name is Isaiah Allen. I'm a proud son of St. Paul. I'm 24 years old. I graduated with a degree of leadership and management from the University of St. Thomas, where I also play football. My mission is to make an impact. And so however I can do that, whether it's athletics, literature, or even just being out here in the community, I want to do my best to make a positive impact.
Okay. So give us just a little bit about, because of being an author and talking about doing books and that aspect of it, the power of a smile. And a young boy learns to smile can change how they feel about himself. Speak about that for a moment.
Absolutely. So this story is really much inspired by my own self. Growing up, I didn't have two front teeth until I got close to high school. And so my parents and other family members always put me in a position to stay positive, encourage me to stay positive. But so from the illustrations, those are all real places. Every character in the story are real people, and they've all touched me so positively. But you know, for kids, especially when they're figuring out who they are, a smile is a reminder of their own light. It's just a simple act. But it builds confidence, it creates connections, and it tells the world, I believe in myself, even if it's just a little bit. And that's why a power of a smile exists, to help kids, even in the hard days, that they know they have something powerful inside them. And it's not just for kids, obviously. Even us adults need to find time to be positive, because we all know how hard the world can be.
Yeah, and one of the things I was going to say is not only is it a book for the kids, but it's also for parents as well, because they should take time and get this book, but then also read it to the youngsters as well, because the power of smile does make a difference, as well the power of touch makes a difference, the power of love. There's going to be a lot of words you can add on to that when you're talking about the power of. And so I like to say hats off to you for the book itself. But why is it so important for youngsters, little ones, to see themselves in characters and characteristics of themselves when it comes to books themselves?
So there's this phrase I like to say is visions of possibility. And every kid deserves to see their own vision of possibility. And what I mean by that, when a kid sees a character who looks like them, who shares their skin tone, maybe even their culture, or maybe even their neighborhood, it expands what they believe is possible for their own lives. It's not just about feeling it included. It's about dreaming bigger. And representation is a lot more than just making a character black. We'll just be straight up for there with that. It's about giving dialogue. It's about giving substance, and I think that's what's so like from a representation standpoint. That's what really makes an impact. My father has always done a really good job. Whenever we went somewhere, he would introduce himself and me to, let's just say, a doctor or engineer, and and most often they would look like me, be African American. My dad would say, "Hey, look, there's an engineer," and then he would speak to the engineer and say, "Hey, can you tell my kid the importance of education?" As a kid, I thought that was so annoying, but it's something that's been so instilled with me, where I understand the impact it has.
So now for parents and teachers and also caregivers, and can you help us just a little bit when it comes to kids and, letting them know and seeing and being, but of themselves, and how important is it at a very young age to get them to see those visions?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing that we can do is to see them, not just what they do, but who they are, to celebrate their efforts, not just the outcome, but to listen when they speak. Remind them they don't have to be perfect to be valuable. Give them books, stories, and spaces that make them feel reflected, and respected. And pride yourself. Pride doesn't start with your pride shouldn't just come from getting an award. Mm-hmm. It should start when you feel safe, loved, and seen.
And for youngsters out there, and actually not even just the youngsters, but even parents themselves, and also the teachers and caregivers, you have a favorite saying when it comes to the smile and effort. Can you break that down to us all the way through, and so they get an understanding of who you are?
Absolutely. A smile plus effort plus positive perception, self-perception equals opportunity. I created this equation to show kids and adults that greatness isn't about being lucky. It's about how you show up. A smile shows the world that you're open and hopeful. Effort means that you're willing to put in the work for what you want. Positive self-perception is how you see yourself. It's a foundation of believing that you can. I'm going to highlight again that you can. When you bring all those three things together, doors start to open, not because everything is easy, because you've trained yourself to walk through the world with belief and intention. And that's where opportunity lies. When people ask me why I wrote a book, there's this long drawn out story I can say, but simply it's because I can.
Okay, say that one more time.
Yeah. When people ask me why I wrote a book, it would have been really easy for me to say this long drawn out thing and talking about inspiration and all that, but it's just because I can do it.
And that's enough right there, because with that attitude of I can, give you that positive force that you can move forward and you can do great things. And then you got to be separating, but then also put yourself in line with those positive things and those positive forces for a lot of positive things to happen. And so I like to definitely say hats off to you for that you do. And also when it comes to the book itself, how can someone get more information about the book, and is there a website or anything in that sort?
Absolutely. So if you look up A Smile by Isaiah Allen, it should pop up. Or if you look up IsaiahAllenLiterature.com, it shows some of my upcoming events, some of the articles I've written. One of those events includes the Leaders and Readers with Dr. Artika Tyner, August 2nd from 11 to 1 p.m. at the Jimmy Lee Rec Center. So if you need help with a manuscript, or if you want someone to show you how to write a book, I'll be there of service.
No doubt. I want to say thank you very much for taking time out and enlightening the listening audience. And before I let you go, on the side of St. Paul, there's a Suggs family and a whole list of other people over in St. Paul. What would you say to your St. Paulians, as a native of St. Paul?
Absolutely. To keep being proud in ourselves and keep having that pride, and to be there for one another. And I whenever I have an opportunity to say where I'm from, I always say it with pride and with a smile on my face. And on behalf of the Allen family, we're just so thankful that we've been so welcomed by the city of St. Paul.
No doubt, no doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Isaiah Allen, a book writer, an author, a builder, one of those persons that when you get a time to sit back and have conversation with, is always going to be a good conversation. Thank you very much once again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No doubt. It's FM 89.9 KMOJ, and letting you know, if you like more information, littlemomentscount.org/podcast, or you can just go to Little Moments Count website at littlemomentscount.org. It's FM 89.9 KMOJ, no doubt about it. It's the People's Station.
Thanks for listening to the Little Moments Count radio podcast in partnership with community radio stations throughout Minnesota. You can find the Little Moments Count radio podcast wherever you get your podcasts and at littlemomentscount.org/podcast.